Pre-Calc 11, Chapter 5.5. Now we're going to look at solving systems of equations algebraically. So what we want to do is use substitution to create one equation with one variable, then move all to one side and factor. And if factoring is not possible, then use the quadratic formula to answer using radicals. And the note here is do not solve to decimals when it is asking for algebraic. This is really nothing new than what you've been doing before. So we have y1, y2, and we do y1 minus y2. So we have 3x squared plus 6x minus 9 and minus with brackets x squared plus 11x plus 3 equals 0. Simplify 2x squared, 3x squared minus x squared, 6x minus 11x, that's minus 5x, minus 9 minus 3, that's minus 12, and we attempt to factor. So we can just use 2x and x. One needs to be negative and one needs to be positive. Since this is a big negative, we'll put the negative over here and the positive over here. And the factors of 24 that I see are 8 and 3. So 2 times 4 is 8, and then we have 3. And we just do a check. This is 3x, this is minus 8x. Add them together, we get minus 5x, so this is good. We have 2x plus 3 equals 0. So 2x equals negative 3. X equals negative 3 over 2. Or we have x minus 4 equals 0. So x equals 4. It's solving just like before. All we're doing is one combining step at the beginning. Here's another problem. We have this equation and this equation, so we'll call this one y1, we'll call this one y2. So again, we do y1 minus y2. This equals 2x squared plus 3x minus 10 minus bracket negative 3x squared plus 5x plus 8 equals 0. 2x squared minus negative 3x squared, that's 5x squared. 3x minus 5x, that's minus 2x, minus 10x, minus 8, that's minus 18, equals 0. What we want to do here is check the discriminant, because it's big. So discriminant equals b squared minus 4ac. This is negative 2 squared minus 4 times 5 times negative 18. This is 4 plus, this is 20 times 18, that's 360. So we have 364. 364 is not a perfect square. This means we'll have irrational roots. So we'll go ahead and use the quadratic formula. X equals minus b. So this is minus negative 2 plus or minus square root. We don't need to do the radical anymore because we already know the discriminant. So we just plug this in, 364. And this is over 2 times a, which is 5, so that's 10. Although this is a radical, it can be reduced. We can pull a 4 out. So this is 2 plus or minus 2 root 364 divided by 4 is 91 over 10. And we can pull a 2 out of each term. Remember, we need to be able to pull it out of each term in order to reduce. So this is 1 plus or minus root 91 over 5. And another task that we need to learn is to check to see if points are solutions. So we have this point, this point, this point, this point. We have the two equations. We need to see if the point works for both equations. So we'll plug this into the first equation. We have 2. We have 2. Negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 minus 22. This equals, that's 4 times 2, that's 8, minus 16, minus 22. This does not equal 7. We don't need to calculate the value. We know this is a negative value, and it certainly doesn't equal negative 7. So no for the first point. Put an X there. Let's look at the next one. We have 8 and a third. So 2 times 8 over 3 squared plus 8 over 3 minus 22. And this is a lot of arithmetic. We have 2 times 64 over 9 plus 64 over 3 minus 22. And double this, so we have 128 over 9. And we change this to a common denominator of 9. So we need to multiply this by 3. That gives us 192 over 9. And we multiply this by 9. And we have 198 over 9. And this equals 122 over 9. And that equals this value. So yes. And we need to check this into the other equation. So we have minus 4 times 8 over 3 squared plus 3 times 8 over 3 plus 34. And we get, this is 64 over 9 again. And we multiply that by negative 4. So that's negative 256 over 9. And we have the 3's cancel out, but we need to have this over 9. So that's just plus 72 over 9, because we're multiplying by 9 over 9. And then plus 34 times 9 is 306 over 9. And this equals 122 over 9. So both equations. So this is good for both equations. So that is a solution. And that's the steps we have to go through. It's a lot of work. So let's try using our calculator. We enter our first function, 2x squared plus 8x minus 22. And we graph. And then we hit trace. We enter negative 2. We get negative 30. So enter negative 2 and we get negative 30. We enter 8 over 3 and we get 13.5 repeat. You can enter 13.5 repeat and then go math and convert it to fraction, and we get 122 over 9. On the Casio, we can do the same thing. Let's enter our other formula, negative 4x squared plus 3x plus 34, and draw. And we can press F1 to trace, enter negative 2, and we get 12. And we can enter 8 over 3, and we get our 13.5 repeat, which is 122 over 9. So this is a much quicker way to check. If you want, you can enter both functions. And we'll go trace, and we'll enter -2. And we press up or down to switch between the two equations, and it'll give us both answers. And if we enter 8/3, press up and down, and we get the same answers. On the TI, we can enter 2 as well. -4x squared plus 3x plus 34. Graph. Trace. -2. Enter. Press up. We have to enter -2 again. Enter 8 divided by 3. We get our answer. Press up. Enter 8 divided by 3 again, and we get our other answer. So a couple more steps using the TI. So in general, to check if something is a solution, substitute the given values and check the results for a match. You have to check both equations. However, if it's not true on the first one, you don't have to check the second one. If it's true on the first one, it doesn't mean it's necessarily true on the second one, so you have to verify both equations. And that completes this lesson.